The Werediaper. Half man, half diaper. A DeviantArt urban legend you've probably never heard of. In 2012, one artist pushed the boundaries of human imagination, creating a work of fetish art so shocking it incited the collective rage of Reddit, 4chan, and the anti-minion fandom. Twice. A work of art that sought to ask, what does it mean to be human? Where does clothing end and flesh begin? And most pressingly, what would happen if a guy could turn into a diaper? This is the story of a 2010s Reddit poop rage incident. This is the story of the Werediaper. Today's art history lesson: DeviantArt, 4chan, and why we can't have nice things. On August 30th, 2012, DeviantArt user Kitsuroll penned the short story A Full Moon Curse Awakening, Werediaper TF. And while I'm giving you these events chronologically, please keep in mind that the beginning of the timeline is very fuzzy for reasons you'll soon see. The story itself, though difficult to understand on a first read, is the brief account of a man undergoing a werewolf-style transformation under a full moon in which he turns into a diaper. A werediaper, if you will. And you need to keep two things in mind. The first is that the word TF in the title refers to transformation, a relatively common subgenre in the DeviantArt community, focused on characters, humans, or animals turning into all manner of things. Second, Kitsuroll claims that this story was loosely based on a drawing that was actually created after the story's publication, but the artist who drew the image insists that it was their original idea. And this discrepancy will come up again. But the real action begins on September 14th, mere weeks later, when Fur Affinity user Eva Kitty Jonesy91, who we'll just call Jonesy, uploaded an unusual curse, Werediaper TF. And before we can go any further, let's have a serious look at this artwork as accompanied by a reading of the short story. In the middle of the night, Chris awaited the full moon, bracing himself for the changes soon to commence. Suddenly, his hand began to shift from flesh and blood to plastic fibers. The changes continued as Chris's legs merged and changed, his body shrinking as more became soft and absorbent. His body began to flatten as his bones changed, his head merging with his body as he folded, and his humanity faded away as a crescent mark appeared. In Chris's place, a diaper remained, enchanted with a second effect that would take hold should another person find it. One night, Allison and Andrew opens the door. "There you are! I've been looking for you," said Allison to the diaper. Allison picks the diaper up. "Ew," said Allison and Andrew, coughing on the stinky baby, and the fur begins to change and transformed into a skunk, and Andrew morphed into a trash bag with dumped trash waste. And past this point, the story is pretty difficult to parse. There's something about a man turning into poop, about stink lines, and about garbage, and then it ends shortly thereafter. So there's a lot to discuss here. Firstly, writing quality aside, this is a pretty standard piece of fetish transformation material from the 2010s. Stylistically, it has a classic airbrushed look with a little bit of anime influence, along with an abundance of tags that make it clear that this was meant for an adult audience. The transformation sequence itself is very standard. A generic self-insert character looking distressed but doing little to stop the slow and awkward transition into an inanimate object. Second, to return to this weird discrepancy, there is a bizarre gap between the upload dates. Sadly, the original DeviantArt post has not been archived, meaning that until we can determine a first upload date, the originator of the Werediaper will remain a mystery. And third, we have to address the diaper thing. But as always, 4chan did it for us. January 2013. Poll. One January day, for no reason at all, a 4chan user posed the question, "What about Werediapers?" and attached the following screenshot. Users on the thread wasted no time in showcasing their shock and disgust, with one even voicing concern that after seeing this image, he may never feel clean again. And to explain their reaction, let's remember the time and place. For those who don't know, Poll, or Politically Incorrect, is by far the most popular and most active 4chan board. And despite the name, it's largely a shitposting board with only the faintest pretense of politics. And while it's not 100% clear that the original 4chan compilation screenshot came from the Poll board, reverse image search results point in that direction. But sadly for Jonesy, no board on 4chan would have been any kinder to him, and the ridicule was overwhelming. Between 2013 and 2014, the slow but relentless tide of mocking reposts on 4chan, Reddit, and Meme Center relentlessly attacked the artist and the art. And remember that pre-2016 Reddit bears basically no resemblance to the Reddit of today. It was a lot more oriented towards cringe and cruelty and a lot more loosely moderated. But after 2 years of online torment, it seemed that things were finally looking up. By winter 2014, the roasts and 4chan reposts had slowed to a crawl. Jonesy had long since deleted the offending DeviantArt post, continuously uploaded new artwork in its stead, and it seemed that the hate had finally settled down. And then the Minions movie happened. Though it pains me to bring up what is probably a very unpleasant memory for many of you, let's quickly touch on the Minion craze of 2015. And I promise this is related to the diaper fetish. As part of a gargantuan marketing strategy to promote the Minion spin-off movie, everyone and their mother had a brand integration with Minions that year. McDonald's, Chiquita Banana, a Super Bowl spot. It was a devastating year for Minion haters. But the goodwill of people who were merely Minion curious was rapidly being burned up by the total saturation of ads. And the straw that broke the camel's back were Minion Facebook memes. In a tragic turn of events, alcoholic mothers across the world discovered that they could talk to like-minded women on Facebook via the Minion. Eye-roll-inducing memes, for better or worse, broke out of Facebook containment via ironic reposts to Reddit and Twitter. But irony wasn't enough, and before long, the Minion hate subreddit was alive and thriving. And all of that brings us to this Minion meme from July 1st of 2015, simply captioned, "Every day we stray further from God's light." The overdramatic sentiment really struck a chord with people who were sick to death of seeing Minion memes, and the phrase soon found widespread use wherever a cringy image existed. And just when Jonesy thought he was finally clear of the crosshairs of 4chan and Reddit, a Redditor thought it would be funny to re-upload his artwork to the Cringe Anarchy subreddit with the title, "Every day we stray further from God's light." With no hesitation whatsoever, a second wave of detractors became radicalized by the Werediaper image, and a second harassment campaign was soon underway. Though Cringe Anarchy was an increasingly edgy, right-wing cringe subreddit whose time on the platform was quickly running out, in 2015, it wasn't yet going anywhere. And poor Jonesy didn't stand a chance. Now, you may see all of this and think, okay, well, obviously the mockery and the hateful comments are completely unnecessary. But can you really blame people for reacting poorly to such a bizarre fetish? Because it's not like anyone is actually into diaper transformation. That's it, that's the end of the video. This fetish isn't real, bye. So put very simply, inanimate object transformation is a very common interest in the adult art community. DeviantArt and Fur Affinity, along with many related sites, contain thousands and thousands of images of characters undergoing transformations. As far as the spicy aspect goes, the appeal of this fetish for many people is the idea of powerlessness and surrendering their body to an overwhelming force. It's definitely more abstract than a lot of other fetishes, which opens it to a lot of artistic interpretation. And since it's not usually explicit and it doesn't break any rules, it gets posted constantly. But the diaper thing is dicier. Diaper fetishism can certainly exist on its own, but a lot of the time it comes packaged with ABDL, adult baby diaper lover. ABDLs are no stranger to controversy due to the extremely sensitive nature of their kink. They're a very poorly understood community who, unsurprisingly, often fields accusations of pedophilia. While some engage in this lifestyle for purely physical purposes, many others use it as a way to safely age regress and revisit aspects of their childhood in a controlled environment. It doesn't seem that Jonesy nor Kitsurole have any interest in ABDL, and instead focus on the diaper as a source of humiliation. And this isn't shocking whatsoever, as humiliating transformations and disfigurement are a thriving subgenre of this fetish. The short stories focus on smelling bad, on being laughed at, and being thrown in the trash are common components of a humiliation fantasy. And as any psychologist can tell you, paraphilias, which is the academic term for this stuff, tend to cluster, especially as they get more extreme. So if you've ever been on DeviantArt and noticed that a lot of artwork depicts inflation and feet and furry and humiliation and transformation in the same image, that's typically why. And though humiliation isn't the craziest aspect of this type of art by far, it definitely fills the gaps when it comes to explaining transformation art that seems just a little bit too bizarre to be real. So does being into humiliation mean that Kitsurole and Jonesy in any way invited or enjoyed being flamed on the internet for 3 continuous years? Almost certainly not. And for the most part, they've maintained low profiles. It remains unclear whether the story or the artwork came first, nor whose idea it originally was. And I've not been able to get in touch with either artist in order to find out. The short story marked the final post on any of Kitsurole's accounts in the last 12 years. And as for Jonesy, they continue to upload their transformation art to multiple websites. Thankfully, without harassment. Though it looks like they've taken down the diaper post on DeviantArt years ago, the original Fur Affinity upload remains to this day, and one can only imagine the mental fortitude required to survive 2 4chan character assassinations and keep posting. Jonesy's artwork, though unusual to some, ultimately didn't cause anyone any harm, though he bore the terrible luck of having what was probably personal artwork reposted and mocked relentlessly. He seems to have emerged unscathed, and he even recently acquired some fan art. And frankly, it's heartening to know that he didn't let the trolls get to him, because Pole, much like the Werediaper that started it all, is full of shit. This has been an art history lesson. This is the story of a 2010s Reddit poop rage incident. This is the story of a 2010s Reddit poop rage. A Werediaper, if you will. Ew, said Allison and Andrew, coughing on the stinky baby, and the fur begins to change and... This is not funny, this is very serious. It's a very serious channel I have.